No, I rather like that. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. It's too wide. Yeah, narrow the shot. Let's start that interview. What's my name? Yep, my name is Lars Von Trier. I'm a Danish director. I am one of the better directors of all time. Yes, could be. I lived and I grew up in a weird situation. By the moment of the death of my mother, she told me that my father wasn't my real genetic father. I was shocked about that news because I thought it was my father. My father belongs to a group of composers, famous Danish composers that I don't know who they are. I tried to contact my father during the years, but without any good outcomes, I wanna say. But doesn't matter. Yeah, my father and my mother that look after me during my childhood were weird, like me. They told me that when I was young, also now, I go with that complex of autodetermination. They brought me to a very tough school with tough rules that you have to follow. It wasn't very easy to working on it. In fact, at the age of 15 years, I left the school because I couldn't stand it, honestly. But that's life, okay? I attended that school until 15 and then I started my career during the years. Next question? Okay, let's make a footstep behind. I was born in 1956 in Denmark. Yep. Beautiful country. My parents were artists. They were convinced that I had to live in an artistic environment. My real name is Von. Yeah, my real name is Lars Trier, without the Von. I got myself with that nickname because it's like elevate me to another level. Yep. My parents always told me that since my birth I had this kind of leadership attitude, and I don't know if it's true, but yeah, I have a strong attitude, maybe not selfish, a bit selfish, a bit opinionated, yep, but difficult to handle, yep, hold on that. Yes, I'm famous for my phobias. For example, I cannot stand planes. I'm very afraid about planes. In fact, every time that they call me in counts for awards, achievements, things like that, I always go with my van, my car. In fact, rarely I move with long distances with plane, although because I'm really afraid about that. I'm hypochondriac, and I always think every time of my life that I have cancer or something like that, or important illness, because yes, bacteriums are very careful. Yeah. But I have to say something, thanks to this environment, luckily, I started to belong to this kind of cinema environment, thanks for my uncle, that was a director before me, that taught me Danish cinema. I knew, thanks to him, very well Trier, that is our father of cinema, one of the best directors of all time. I always, and yeah, thanks to my mother, my father, also. I started to direct firstly television. I made the Medea, a project by Trier, and it was a success, honestly, in my own land. I thought after that I could make a huge footstep ahead, and so I started my career in cinema with my project, my things in my mind. Yeah, maybe because I'm so weird that I success in cinema, I think. Don't know, honestly, about what can I say. I start with my career. Yeah. I literally love make trilogies about team, not with the narrative links, but all about teams. The first trilogy that, well, my first movies were Forbidden Sign Element in 1984, after this epidemic, and the last one is Europa. And this trilogy is called the Europa Trilogy, but not about the continent. It's like mental illness, mental statement about a situation that we live. I thought that cinema is great, but honestly I think that they need statements, manifesto that will change the rules. I really appreciate the attempt that the French movement with Nouvelle Vague tried to, and I followed that flow with another kind of manifestos where we have to go back to the real cinema that try to transpose the real life without any kind of sound effects, post-production that in the 90s and 80s and 70s of the 20th century try to, well, fuel the current, that way that I don't like. I don't appreciate that cinema, okay? Hollywood cinema is awful, awkward. In fact, in Denmark, no one understood my movies. While in Europe, with some achievements, some awards, things like that, they kind of appreciate that my art style. And thanks to that kind of fickle fund, I moved on. And I understood I needed my production on my own. In fact, in 1992, I created Gentropa, my own production house, which I make my own movies with all other artists in Copenhagen that wanted to make movies with my philosophy. So with, I don't know, shaky cameras, with all things without technology that I don't like. I don't appreciate because it's not like that, cinema. It's not like that. I break out with Breaking the Waves. That is the first part of a trilogy, another trilogy that is called the Golden Hour Trilogy, with all these main characters that they are naive. They go ahead in a ruthless world, stained world, but they are naive and go with the good sense, only for the good sense. And Breaking the Waves is on the highest level, that concept. The other movies of that trilogy are Idiots and Dancer in the Dark. Yeah, I have to talk about both, because Idiots is the first movie of mine of the Dogma 95. What is Dogma 95? Is a manifesto that I made mainly with Thomas Winkelberg, my colleague, a friend of mine, and was very fascinated because we thought in the same way that we have to make a revolution about cinema. It's like our novel vague, something like that, yep. And we made the 10 rules that we don't respect during the years, honestly, by the way, but they were very, very, very interesting. I will show you now all the rules, because I cannot list all, it will be very boring, but remember only 3 things of all the 10. If you want to see it, I will show you now, yep, like that. I keep on like that for 10 seconds. Okay, the 3 things that you have to know mainly are the first one, so real location. You cannot use things that you bring outside of the real location. It will be a makeup. We don't like makeup, that's the concept. No artificial lights, no filters, no fake actors, no technology, weird technology. In fact, the camera has to shake, yeah, shake. If you take it by hand, or you have to make movement, only by hand on your shoulder, and you go with the camera out. So it will go to shake, doesn't matter. And M4-3 format, like that video, because we like that, so we keep it like that. My colleague Winterberg made the movie with this manifesto, while I made Idiots. They're talking about people that are real, but they are in behavior like an idiot. And a girl thought they were down or autistic, but in the reality, after that, she found out that they are not autistic. They are just normal, ordinary, and they act. The third movie is Dancer in the Dark. Yeah, I know that you want to say me, to accuse me, to scold me about Bjork and how I handled Bjork in that movie, yeah? But if I didn't handle like that, maybe it will not make this movie so far. So I appreciate that. No, I never abuse about her, I swear. I don't know. They told me, a lot of people accuse me that I hated their abuse about her psychologically and physical way. She claimed that, but I cannot say that. I cannot say that. If you want to understand my style, you have to understand my link, my bound with Christianity. I was atheist before breaking the waves. In fact, if you notice that, after breaking the waves and so on, all my movies treat in a certain way, a lower and higher way, but they treat every time brief theme about topic about Christianity, about religion, because I was addicted to that and I needed as a fate to go away about my depression. I suffer as a depression with alcohol and drugs. I admit that every different times. I have to thank Christianity to help me to escape to that situation. I had to say that my style that is very weird, uncomfortable to see and watch, is made especially to enter in my mind in a certain way, because it's false if you make all the perfect shots and like that. Had to be stained, had to be well, not cleaned, dirty, shaky shots, and with the dirty, shaky act by the actors, because all the life is a makeup, is a theater, as Brecht said, but in the same time is real. And so nothing is perfect. In Dancing in the Dark I made a musical, but a bad musical, because usually musicals are happy, uplifting, but my musical is a tragedy. I like uncomfortable shots because they are real. The real life is always like that. We see with that kind of shots, if you have to notice in real life. So why you are so weird that you need the perfection way of the life in cinema? No, I don't see it coming. I don't see things like that, honestly. Okay. Other things that I want to say are that thanks to Dancing in the Dark with Bjork, I gained a lot of money to make our other movies. Yes, so another trilogy. Okay, now I want to ruin all the Hollywood system. So I made a trilogy about US Island of Opportunities trilogy, yep. So I took Hollywood divas like Nicole Kidman and I made Dogville with a Brechtian style movie about, yeah, a bit of Christianity, a bit of criticized American system, about capitalism, but I love it so much, I love it so much, and I hope you appreciate the movie because it's very weird, but at the same time, it's beautiful. It's beautiful and talk about the reality. The other two movies of the trilogy are Manderley and The Grave Chiefs. This last one, I'm talking about the capitalistic system, the enterprise system, and how is corrupted, and how is creepy, how is unsettling. Last trilogy is the trilogy of depression, because after that trilogy I abused a lot, I had a very bad period, and I don't want to be like that about that. I don't want to make fun about that because it wasn't an easy period for me. I really thought about the sense and meaning of the life, and abused about drugs and things. I want to get deeper into the bodies. And yeah, I use the camera like a microphone. I always do like that in my movies and go deeper inside that. Do you want to know what are the 3 movies of the trilogy? Let me show you. Antichrist in 2009, Melancholia in 2012, and lastly, Nymphomaniac I made a director's cut, a first and second part, but it's very cruel, it's very raw. Yeah, I recommend it if you are strong as an heart, but I will not recommend it if you are weak of heart. And the last movie is The House that Jack Built in 2018, and I really appreciate it. Yep, honestly, yes. So yeah, I'm very weird, and if you wanna discover more my world, I recommend to watch my movies. I'm not a pedophile, I swear. I'm not someone illegal, psychopathic. A bit in a mind, but I think everyone is a psychopathic nowadays, but in general in the humanity, because it's part of our human mind and human body. Yes, I like bodies. I like all this kind of things that I can touch, tangible. I really appreciate it, but I'm not so weird. So if you wanna see my movies, you have to think out of the lines. You have to think and understand a weird person. If you don't think you are not a weird person and you want an only ordinary person and people, you're boring. Yes, you're boring. But I'm not dangerous. Well, I hope you enjoy my movies, and I hope that this interview was good for you. And well, guys, see you to the next interview. Yep. Bye. Yeah.